Welcome to the Ghost Heads Nerd Talk Podcast. Conversation about all nerd culture from all the corners of the world. Now here are your two Ghostbuster hosts, Joe and Rain.
Hello, you cool busters and bustettes. I'm Ghostbuster Joe, and welcome to another episode of the Ghost Head Nerd Talk Podcast, episode 64. Wow,
You'll get that right someday.
I know, I'm trying to blah, the tongue twister, but it's a beautiful name. I'm so happy to do this. Episode 64, Rain. Man, this is awesome. This trip is starting, and it's gonna keep going on, man. So man, another episode of the podcast, Rain. So we have a young lady today she's got everything. She does everything, Rain. You want to give her a warm firehouse welcome?
Sure. Welcome to the Damsel, the one and only Scarah.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. So, if our nerd culture is not familiar with you, the firehouse floor is yours.
Okay. Well, my name is Scarah, Damsel of the Doomed. I'm a horror host first and foremost. My horror hosting duties include a variety of things. Most recently, I started hosting a drive-in show out at Doc's Drive-In in Buda, Texas, where we show classic horror movies the first Thursday of every month. And it's really cool. I climb up in this giant zombie head and the screen's behind me, and I introduce the movie and tell you some really cool facts and things about it. And then we show the movie. After the movie, I get back up and, close out the show. So that's one of the things I do. I also host out at Cult Classic Convention. That's a horror and cult classic convention. This year, I think they're having a Porky's reunion. Other things. And so I get to, as host, I get to interview all of the guests that they have, all of the celebrities that come in front of the convention audience. So that's fun. I also usually host Nosferatu Festival, which is a vampire convention in Austin, Texas. It's music and vendors and usually burlesque performers. So that's really fun. And then I'm a host out at Bat City Scaregrounds in Austin, Texas. That is a multi-attraction haunted theme park haunted house. So there's 3 haunted houses on 15 acres of fear. And it's open throughout October and on Halloween. And it's a blast. We just wrapped our 3rd season and it was great. I'm also in a band called The Immortals. I'm a lead singer for that band. It's a horror punk band. I'm a witch. My band members are all vampires. So the songs are about vampire, monsters, horror stuff, it's really fun. We're about to start playing a lot of shows again. And I also make movies. I'm an actress and I wrote a film called Damsel of the Doomed, which is part of a horror anthology, a 2-part feature that makes up a full-length movie. The other movie's called The Black Quarry. It's about a black metal band that almost made it, but didn't because something, of course, nefarious happens. And that movie will be out hopefully next year. We are in post-production right now. They're editing that movie as we speak. And it was a really fun and exciting adventure to make that. And I used to host a show called Tub of Terror, where I would review horror movies in my bathtub. I did that for a while. You can find that shit on YouTube. It's still up there. And I think that's about it. I don't think I'm missing anything now. I think that's it.
That is an awesome resume.
How many pages would that be, Rain?
Yeah.
Like how many? He'd be like, may I see your resume? I hope your desk is sturdy. Boom.
Phone book now. Yeah.
Get
him time
I lost their coffee. The table just went boom.
Yeah.
I've got to get cleaned. Ceiling. Okay. So like when you do all these like things for the horror movies, and you love the horror genre, like if you had to do like a top 10 of your all-time favorite horror movies, who would be on that list? It could be old school. It could be like 80s. Like for like what genre would be on this top 10?
Okay, I'll do the top 10 off of my head, and they're for various reasons. One is Night of the Living Dead, because that's the first horror movie I saw, and I saw it probably way before I should have seen any horror movies. I was a little kid. Sorry if you hear squeaking, that's my dog. I was a little kid, and that movie, they didn't get the copyright for it. George Romero, the one who directed it, he didn't get the copyright. And so they were able to show it on TV whenever they wanted, which did a few things. One, it made it a very popular movie. Everybody and anyone has seen and been influenced by that movie. And two, the influence I'm talking about, it kind of set forth a lot of the rules for zombie movies to come. So, that they had to be shot in the head or killed in the head, to die, and all these other rules that Romero came up with kind of went into all the other zombie movies. So that's near and dear to my heart for those reasons. I was a little bitty when I saw that on TV. I also like Texas Chainsaw Massacre a lot, the original. And that was, shot here in the Austin area. And it's kind of a Hansel and Gretel story, believe it or not, at its origins. But I like that movie because it, along with Black Christmas, which is probably number 3 for me and on the list. These are in no order. Black Christmas from 1974 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre gave us the first horror movies that were from the killer's perspective. So you didn't see, like when the killing was happening, it was the killer's perspective doing it. You saw Leatherface in the movie throughout, but you didn't see the killer in Black Christmas until the very end. So anyways, both of those movies I really like for that reason. More recent horror movies that I enjoyed, Hereditary. I really, really liked Toni Collette's performance, and that was amazing. And I like that director. I also liked Midsommar. One of the better folk horror movies out there, I would say. You don't get a lot of folk horror these days. There's, Trolls, and then the one that started it all, Wicker Man from a long time ago. But I think Midsommar did it great. And then I like stuff like, I like some crazy 80s stuff like Return of the Living Dead. That's over the top and cartoony, and, like the special effects are just, wild, and the soundtrack's killer. It's all these punk bands from LA. I like stuff like that too. I go all over the place. Let's go back to the older stuff. Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorites. That's a horror movie I can watch over and over again and not really get bored. 70s horror I enjoy because they're just kind of they're figuring out horror movies in the 70s still. I think you had Hitchcock of the 60s, and he had his certain formula, and then in the 70s they were trying to become fresh and original, and they're all inspired by Hitchcock, but they wanted their own thing. So 70s horror to me is weird. It's just bizarre. So I like a lot of that just for those reasons, like the sound.
Good word for it.
There's one, Last House on the Left. They did a remake, but the original one is so fucking weird because the soundtrack doesn't match what's going on. It's like this real happy soundtrack, and like a girl's getting murdered. I don't get it, but that's what I like stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, maybe my favorite is Pieces. Is that 81? I can't remember, but Pieces is absurd. It is the most absurd horror movie I've ever seen. It's out there ridiculous, and I can't stop laughing at it. So it's not very scary to me at all. It's not supposed to really be a horror comedy, but it's so funny, and the blood and the gore is so wild. And if you haven't seen that one, that's one I recommend. I don't know if we're at 10 yet, but that's a lot to digest.
Okay. That's a good amount. That was right, Rain. That was a nice amount of movies.
Yeah. Definitely. Where does Scarah, the persona, come from? Has she always been someone that you've since you were a kid, or she knew, or?
I've always enjoyed Halloween and horror, and Elvira was my, like, one of, the first time I saw Elvira, I was really, really little, and she was the queen of Halloween, and I love Elvira. I had the pleasure of meeting Cassandra Peterson a while back.
Oh,
so
cool.
Anyway, I always just knew I was going to do something. I don't know how to, I don't know how or why, but I always had a feeling this was coming. I knew it was out there. And about, I think it was the end of 2018, I started interviewing, like you guys are doing, people in the horror community. And when I would interview them, I would dress up usually based on what they did. So if it was a horror artist, I would dress up like I was painted, or, if it were a comic book artist, I would dress up like one of his characters. And we were interviewing this guy named Joey Slane, and he owns the Glass Coffin Vampire Boutique here in Austin, Texas, and he's a vampire. And so I wanted to dress real vampy, and I bought the dress that is now the Scarah dress, the traditional Scarah dress. I bought that and put it on, and that I was like, oh, we're on to something here. And I decided to stay with that, and it's worked out. So ever since then, like, I've just done things as this now.
That's awesome, because I get a really cool, like, modern Elvira, right?
That makes me happy. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that definitely, especially with your resume and how you reviewed movies from the bathtub, and that's kind of like how Elvira started. Was kind of like what she was just doing old movies and stuff like that. I could totally see you like blowing up. You should, because I love the Scarah persona. It's really cool.
Thank you. I love horror hosts. I like Joe Bob and Svengoolie and all of them, but Elvira definitely is my lady.
Classic. Yeah. I still want to see a matchup. Someone said between like her and Dolly Parton as.
They're like the yin and yang
or something. But buddy cop kind of comedy. That would be great.
They could take all of my money. I would definitely.
That would be the funniest movie ever, ladies. Wouldn't it be like Dolly Parton comes speeding up, turns the car sideways. Get in, Ghosty. We're going chasing somebody. Calls a Ghosty. Get in, Batgirl. Get in, Ghosty. Get in, Pale Girl. We're getting in.
You just show me the Kickstarter, and I'm going to donate to that one.
God, instantly.
Same. Definitely.
It's funny because where I live in Pennsylvania, I get MeTV, which is from Jersey, right over the river. And it's funny you mentioned the old guy, Mr. I always say is
Svengoolie, yes.
Svengoolie. I actually watched his show, and they were having him. I think he was retiring or something like that. And I'm like, after like me and Rain started, and we got you as guests, and I'm like, oh my God, we have to try to get him on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, he has a whole new crew now with him. There's a girl and like a vampire, I think. He's got he's got some new blood coming in.
Yeah, I would love to get, if you're watching this, somehow you found this podcast. Hi, bud. I'm from Pennsylvania. I watch you, and you're a show, and you're hilarious. So, like Rain mentioned your like outfit. Where did you come up with that makeup? That awesome with the blood and stuff like that.
Thank you. Well, blood eyes are a traditional horror, thing. You see it a lot in all sorts of horror art and in horror movies, bleeding eyes, and it's just a deal. In the movie, I explain exactly where it came from, so I'm going to save the exact reason for that. But there is a reason, and the movie does address it. So, but it's right in the beginning of the movie why I do
it.
Okay.
So
but it's definitely like it's recognizable, and you know what it is, right away. Like it's what do you call it? Marketable, I guess.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. No, it's very iconic.
That's
what I like. Yeah. I was gonna say that being that you come from the horror side, have you had any paranormal experiences or anything? Do you believe in the paranormal?
When I was a kid, I remember, I think this is pretty much everybody's rite of passage as a kid. Let me see if there's one. See that up there, the Ouija board.
Yes,
definitely had Ouija board experiences as a kid. I don't do those anymore just because you never know. I use my inspirations. I just don't touch them. I have them all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't think so. I mean, there's always those things that happen where it's like, oh, that was, pretty freaky coincidence, I would say. But I haven't had like any contacts with ghosts like that. I have a lot of friends that are mediums and read tarot cards and do all of that stuff. I think that's neat. What about you guys?
I saw a shadow person when I was a kid, which is what got me into the paranormal when I was younger. And then a few years later, I saw this movie or this trailer for three guys wearing backpacks hunting ghosts. And I was like, that's me. Because I'm such a huge science nerd buff. I mean, I went to space camp for 2 years. So, I mean, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. And so when I saw these movies, I was just like, that blends everything that I love. It's science, comedy, a little bit of horror, and the paranormal and ghosts and stuff. So that was Ghostbusters for me. So
that's what I love about Ghostbusters. It was like one of the first movies that put scientists as heroes.
yes,
You know, and they're the main characters. It's like the smart guys win, you know. I really like that about that movie. That whole franchise.
same. And the technology felt like it was stuff that you can actually build, you know,
Yeah.
in your basement. It wasn't like too outlandish or too crazy or too sci-fi. You know, it wasn't like laser guns like Star Wars or anything like that. Though, I mean, I love Star Wars, but it felt like that was stuff that you can actually, that like it was technology that could happen.
Right.
So
that existed already.
Right. So yeah, that was another thing that just sold it for me. Yeah. Speaking of Ghostbusters, have you seen the new trailer yet? Any thoughts on the new trailer?
I have not seen the new trailer, but I've been so behind. In October, I can't enjoy or do anything, so I haven't really been watching a lot of anything lately. But does it look
check it
good?
out.
Really?
Yeah, it has it gives me a disaster movie / horror movie vibe, which is really neat. But I mean, also it has Patton Oswalt and a bunch of other comedians in it,
Yeah,
so
Patton.
you can tell that it's going to have bits of comedic elements to it, like it typically does. But it seems like it's moving in a different direction, is what a lot of people that I've spoke
Okay.
to about it. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. Definitely check it out.
I love Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he's funny.
My experience with the paranormal, like as a young kid, like knowing about the Ghostbuster stuff, and also getting when I got a little older, I used to I went to a lot of like where I lived. I lived in Long Island. I lived like in Central Islip, and they had it was a more old insane asylum, and my friends used to sneak in and he used to tell me all about shadow people and stuff like that. And as a teen, at my school that I went to, I went to the school on the campus, and I would hear stories about little kids, hearing babies crying on the third floor of the building. And I believed in ghosts, but I'd never seen one. Then I was in my dorm. I told this to Rain. I was in my dorm room. I thought one of my friends were in my room, and I got up, I swear, turned around, and it was just a shadow person. And I was just like, I felt like my whole body adjusted around, and I felt like it launched me into the wall. It was like weird. I was like, whoa.
I think we're
And
definitely more open to that when we're kids too.
yeah. And also they
Right,
say people with disabilities get attracted to the paranormal energy. That's what I've heard from on videos. But I don't know. That could be just stories I hear. But I don't know. They say paranormal energy senses, because they could sense that you could see them and feel them more than most. And then I lost my uncle. God rest his soul, my Uncle Mark. I was in his room to get closure, watching SNL, what he loved to do every Saturday night. And I'm sitting there, and it was summertime. It was like June or July. All of a sudden, I closed my eyes. It got really cold. I opened my eyes, and I like to hear the laughter on the show, the fake laugh track. Open my eyes, and there he is sitting there like this.
Ugh.
And I go, oh. I just got so scared. I went into the 80s typical scared bad guy. I was like, oh, good heavens. I passed out. I was like, nah. It was like Night of the Living Dead when the guy hits his head on the grave. And that was me. I was like, bruh.
That would freak anyone out. When you came to, he was gone, I guess.
Yeah, he was gone. Yeah, I woke up.
Long gone.
Tears in my eyes. I woke up with tears in my eyes too. I was like, whoa, shoot. Yeah.
So we know you do. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say the only other thing was, I think this is another one a lot of people experience where you hear your name being called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whispers. Yes, yeah.
But that's it.
No, that's definitely one you hear a lot of. Yeah, like little whispers and like or
Yeah.
moments of like cold wind and suddenly whispers behind it, and then next thing you know, you hear that. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
No sex, run away. No sex today. And then you see a giant guy with a big hockey mask on. You're like,
Right.
I'm celibate.
Like,
No.
okay, I'm in my own horror movie. All right.
Like, no, I'm celibate now. Sorry. Did I tell you a secret that I'm celibate now?
Yeah. No. It's time to go in the basement and shower naked. You know, that's the
Yes,
thing.
that was the perfect.
That movie, like, is anybody naked? It's gonna get naked and take a shower. See you later. What's that? Was that scary movie that the person said that I'm gonna get naked and take a shower? I forgot which movie that
I
was.
think so. I there was a commercial that came out. It was like I think for it was like I think a Geico commercial or something like that. But it was where the killer's standing there and all the kids run up and they're behind. Let's go behind all those knives. And one person, let's go jump in the car. No, let's go into the graveyard. And then the killer's just sitting there like, for real.
I saw that commercial and my mom got mad at me every time. Mama
Really?
Ghostbusters got mad at me every time. I was like, I want to get in the car. My mom's like, you can't drive. I'm like, if there's something about to kill my ass, I'm running into the fucking car and I'm taking off like a bat out of hell.
Right.
I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I would have pushed the Uber app, trying to run around, trying to hide. Let the Uber meet me here. I'm here. Where are you? I'm hiding behind the fucking rock.
Well, don't you know cell phones don't ever work in those movies, though?
Yeah.
Ever.
My phone will have no reception, be blinking, no internet. No.
Right. You're right
Trying
next
to
to the
find one.
tower. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
I was going to ask though, if money was no object, is there any particular like other character or cosplay that you would want to do?
Oh, I do Vampira sometimes, and
cool.
I've done Lily Munster before, and
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I will eventually one of these years. I'll cosplay Elvira. I'll do a tribute to her. I had her dress made, in fact, but I had it made by somebody in Hungary or something. I can't remember. Anyway, they sent it to me and it was great. And then I went to iron it and I had the iron too hot, and so I melted part of it. So
no! Oh God, I'd be so mad.
Redo all of that. So I just kind of put that away and thought, I'll just wait, and because I'm gonna have it made again. I don't want to buy the one from like Spirit Halloween or whatever. I want.
Yeah, those suck.
Right, you want a good one, yeah.
So one of these years, I'll do her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I do Vampira probably. I do maybe once a year. I want to probably take her to a convention one of these times, but usually I'm busy promoting whatever I'm doing for this, so I stick to that. But Vampire is my second go-to.
Nice. Very cool.
She was the original horror host, actually. Elvira was supposed to be taking over for Vampira, and at the last minute, it got switched and pulled. And in fact, Vampira, I think, sued Elvira over it because of her show, but they changed it up. And it was a whole weird thing. Vampira talks about it in her book and says one thing, and Elvira says another. And I kind of believe Elvira on the matter. But yeah, she was gonna, fill the shoes. And then when it fell through, they just were like, well, we'll just make our own show. And they did.
It definitely seems more plausible, the thing.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Gotta believe Elvira. She's the OG. the what would it be? Not OG. What would she be? She'd be the the BGOG, the bad girl OG.
That's the thing, is Vampira was the first one. She was in the 50s doing it, like before anybody. She was the first of any of them. Others came after her, but so Elvira's like definitely the second female horror host. Vampira was the first one. Not a lot of people know a whole lot about her. Her show only ran, I want to say, for one season, and it was back when it was live TV and they didn't save anything. They didn't tape it.
Oh, right.
There's really not that much footage of her. But if you Google her, you'll see her pictures, and she has the tiniest waist I've ever seen in my life. It's so pretty. And she drew her eyebrows up really high. So whenever I cosplay her, I have to cover my eyebrows and then draw them up and then black.
Oh, jeez.
And I have to like corset myself as, within an inch of my life.
Don't eat anything today.
I can't get as small as her, but she was teeny tiny. And it's kind of sad though, because she spoke about like how she stayed that small. And I mean, she basically starved herself. You know what I mean? She only had like one day out of the week where she could really eat. And then the rest of the time was preparing for the show. And then they canceled her show and she always thought she would get it back. So she never let herself gain weight. Even as a woman, she just kind of like, maybe they'll let me have it back, kind of thing.
Oh, poor thing.
It's really liked her. They wrote songs about her. Like she's definitely got her place in the horror cult history, for sure.
Being that it was the 50s, was the show I'm guessing was black and white.
It was black and white, and it was like filmed in an attic. Like the studio made it look like it was filmed in an attic. That was the set.
Wow.
She was on this really cool couch, and she would drink cocktails that it had dry ice, so it would smoke, and she would scream. Like that's how she opened up the show. She would say something and then just give this blood curdling scream.
Oh God.
And, she was wild. It was a wild character. Now she modeled her character after Morticia Addams, the cartoon, the comic strip. So that's how she came up with her character. It's all connected,
Right. That's so cool. It all comes back to Addams Family.
Oh, yeah. Now that's the OG for sure.
Yeah.
So have you ever had any fans like come up with you with like any fan art of you, or ever made you out of pop or anything like that?
I can show you a few that are up in this room. Let's see. So there's that one. Whoa, right there. See that? And then might be too dark to see that one. Let's see. That one.
That is so cool.
Look at that.
Right there and there. This one over here.
Oh my God, I love your house.
Oh God, it's Halloween all the time. That's freaking. Oh yeah, I see that. Wow, look at that.
That's awesome.
Another one. There's more in the other rooms. I have some big paintings of me that they did. So, and then I have a lot of. It's so sweet. I have a lot of fan art actually.
That's cool.
But I definitely there's some that I've made into prints and some that are.
Pop up. You should try to make yourself into a pop on that website.
Oh, can you do that nowadays?
I made myself. I made myself as Joe Panther III, as my dudes at ringside persona with the blue jacket, and I put the red glasses on myself. I tried to put it with a hat, and I'm like, it gave you hair, and I'm like, no, don't lie to the fans, Joe. You're bald. Just accept it. You're bald. You're bald, Joe. No, I was gonna click it, and I was like, no, you're not. You don't have hair. Just accept it.
Do you get to sell them, or is it just is a mock-up?
I think it's just a mock because I didn't go to the end when it says like the whole buy, but you could buy your own self as a pop.
Oh yeah, that's cute. I might do that.
And they give you outfits and everything. I gave myself the blue coat and the black pants and the black shirt. And I was gonna see if they had a Ghostbusters flight suit, but they didn't have that. They just had t-shirts and pants for the girls. You can make it a female. Yeah.
Probably. What's the Dudes at Ringside podcast?
That is a podcast I do. I talk to pro wrestlers from all over the world. Dudes at Ringside podcast is internationally known.
Are you excited for the Iron Claw?
Yes, I can't wait for that to come out. That looks so. And I'm old school.
Next month, I think, right?
Yes, I am on the podcast. Well, I used to work with another guy, but now I'm by myself doing it, and I'm the old school guy. Because my grandfather got me into, oh God, we're going into Dudes at Ringside on.
Yeah, I love wrestling. I used to watch wrestling as a kid, so that's fine.
I talked to pro wrestlers from all over the world, from as far as France, Northern Ireland, England, and all over the country, from California all the way to the East Coast where I live. I represent the East Coast, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area of the independent wrestling scene. Because I am one of the man, the only of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And you like the old school stuff.
Yes. From the Texas Tornado, the Mr. Perfects, the man, the Nasty Boys, the Demolition,
Ric
the
Flair,
the Flares.
Buddy
We have the fabulous Freebirds coming in dancing with their Confederate flag jackets. Yikes!
Yeah.
The NWAs, the old schools, and then with me, the reason why I became Mr. Old School is because my grandfather, another one, God rest his soul, he was passed away before I was born. He got me into wrestling. My dad told me the stories about him, and I was hooked. I was like, WWF is my bag. I had to keep watching because I knew he wrestled when Vince's dad was
Your
the
grandfather
owner.
was a wrestler.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's really cool. I see. Okay.
And then the podcast turned into Dude and the Ghost Head Nerd Talk podcast.
Well, we all do multiple things.
Yep. I
And
am
earlier, she does all sorts of stuff, including roller derby, which I used to really want to do that.
That's right.
That's what I do.
Here in Austin, but now I've had too many surgeries. I think if I got one good check, I might,
Oh, geez.
hate my
Different
whole.
levels though. A lot. When I told my guys at work, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get your ass kicked." I'm like, "It's not glow on roller skates, okay? That's not women's wrestling. There's different levels to it."
Yeah. But I do enjoy watching. I like to go to my friends' bouts.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Ever in Portland, I'll take you a bunch of games. Yeah. I'm on 2 different teams out here.
Portland's kind of Austin's sister city. Like, y'all are weird like us over there.
Yes. Yes.
But we're getting there's so many Californians moving here. It's changing the city. Oh, is it for you?
Yeah.
Stay in your place.
So I shouldn't talk. I'm from LA originally.
But I say that, and then I'll say this though. It's done some good things for the city. Like, our comedy scene here is really, really big now. So if you like stand-up comedy, a bunch of LA comedians moved here and
Nice.
Huge now. So they're all really funny. So it's just the weirdness element kind of diminishes.
Sure. Yeah, right. Because you want to keep some of that OG-ness. There's definitely this town is so weird. I love it. I mean, we moved from LA originally to Temecula, which was just north of San Diego. And everyone from San Diego moved up to Temecula, and it drove the prices up. And then we ended up moving to Arizona. Huge mistake. And we were living in Prescott Valley, and then we moved up to Portland. And then as soon as I've gotten here, it's been like, these are my people. So it's been great.
So Scarah,
go ahead.
Sorry, Rain. You go on.
No, you go right ahead. I talked to you anyway.
If our fans, the nerd culture, would like to find you on social media, how can they find you?
So on Instagram, it's Scarah_ Damsel of the Doomed, and same thing on Facebook, I believe. TikTok, it's Scarah Damsel of the Doomed. Just any iteration of Scarah and Damsel of the Doomed. If you enter that on any of the socials, you'll find me. I have a Threads account, but I don't really use it, and I'm not on X. And much to the dudes that ask me once a month in my DMs if I have a OnlyFans, I do not. So stop it.
None of the business.
I would publish it because I would want that money, but I do not.
Right.
Yeah.
The time being, have an OnlyFans account. So,
Yeah.
So once a month, some guys up in there saying, "Just wondering if you have any content behind a paywall." That's their nice way of saying it, and I'm always like, "No, I don't. I would have it listed in the bio. Trust me."
Right.
Yeah. Yikes. If anybody wants, if you have any merch, anybody that they want to pick up.
I was just thinking about, because I have all these prints that whenever I do live, events in person, I'll sell prints and stuff like that, but I've never done it online. But I think I'm going to go ahead and start selling those, and then some t-shirts soon.
You should get stickers.
Stickers too, yeah.
Stickers. I want one.
But
I want one from my wall of fame, Scarah. I have tons.
If I get one, I'll make sure I send you one.
You gotta send one to Rain too. We can add it. We have add it to the collection.
Absolutely.
Sure. Oh
yeah. I got to set something up. It's one of my goals for 2024.
That's the thing right there. You go next, Rain, and then I'll ask my last question.
I only had to ask. So I'm sure how often or how long are you Scarah and then yourself, or does Scarah take up all your time?
Oh man, I was just telling somebody the other day. So I was supposed to go visit my mother the weekend after our Halloween, and I got sick, so I couldn't. And so I was looking at my schedule to see when I could see her next, when would be the next available date. And if I didn't go that very weekend, then I wouldn't get to see her again until February, because every weekend is taken up by either my band or appearances at a horror event as the character. So it's a lot, but and I almost every month I have something going on as Scarah. Before I did the band, and before the movies, and even before I did the movie reviews in my bathtub, I was trying to build the character. So I've always, since 2019, I've always been putting time into this character very consistently. So in the beginning, it was just videos and photos, and content in that aspect. And then one thing would lead to another, and I'd meet another person or another connection. And I have partners with a group called Horror Web. It's a production company that we formed. And I have creative partners in Horror Web, and the same people that own and run Horror Web, one of the same people anyway, he is the owner of Bat City Scaregrounds where I work, and he's my guitar player in my band. So he and I do a lot of stuff together. So I've been with the same kind of spooky group of creatives for a while, and that's been helpful. So it's not been just me, doing things. I've been running with this crew since 2019, but I've been putting time into this character every month since 2019 for sure.
So,
I'm not
you're Scarah now. That's just you now. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do other things as a regular person, but I do a lot of things too. So I'm trying to work on actually like just being very selective of what I do now. Because in the beginning, my motto is say yes to everything. And I actually I give that as advice to people that are starting out. Say yes to everything, do everything. And then as you go along, like you have to, because there's just not time for everything anymore. So you just have to be kind of selective. But so I'm still learning that. But what about you guys? How often do you do your Ghostbuster?
Oh gosh.
Dudes at ringside just usually is a lot of the time when I do the wrestling stuff, and then I start feeling this vibe that I need to cut back on dudes, and then I'm like with Rain, I'm like, we'll try to find somebody within the nerd culture. Like we just had Rain's friend that does the paranormal stuff. Rain, right? We had our friend on there recently.
Yeah, paranormal friend,
paranormal friend, and had Rain on as a guest on the podcast, and then I had a young lady that does cosplay, that does gaming before that, and I had Jason from Ghostbusters News as a YouTube channel, so I have an Instagram page, and like I'm trying to make this like I watched the show. I used to listen to a show on something radio on the browser, and I want to make it what Nerd Herders was to me getting into the podcast game. So this Ghost Head Nerd Talk is going to become my way of approaching the nerd culture in a different fashion by having someone like you on, or Joss, or even Vamp. I've been trying to get her on for like 2 years. People, and maybe even get like the Dan Aykroyds if they ever can get them. Maybe even Paul Rudd, people that were in movies. Even try to get on Danguli, like people like that people will be like, oh, I gotta hear what's going on with this person. You know what I mean? Like that's when this podcast comes in for me, person. And so my last question for you, Scarah, if you had to write a short list of your New Year's resolutions for 2024, what would they be?
So definitely the first one is getting my merch together. The second is I want to go. There's a few horror conventions in LA actually that I want to go to. even if it's just one out there, I would like to do that. And the third, did you see that? Oh my God. Oh, chaos.
Leaped.
Maybe between my dogs. I don't know. That was wild. But mostly just like to further the character. I want to have my merch situation sorted out. And then I want to start writing again. I want to write another either horror short. I have one out called Basic Witch. Now it's in film festivals. I forgot to mention that. Basic Witch is the first horror short I wrote. It's only like 10 minutes. And it kind of served as the proof of concept that to make a larger project. And Basic Witch is about to wrap as far as the film festivals go. And once that's finished, then we could put it up like on some kind of streaming service for everyone to see. So I'll let y'all know when that's out.
Ooh, please let us know.
But so I want to start writing again and filming videos. I really like acting in this character and writing for my friends. I have a lot of friends that do all sorts of characters. So I like to include them in whatever I can include them in.
Awesome.
What about you guys?
Green.
Oh gosh, kind of a bit. Well, I'm working on props because the new movie Frozen Empire is coming out in March. So my Ghostbuster team is chomping at the bit for me to build props, which is what I'm printing in the background. So I've been working on. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I have a huge team, and some stuff doesn't quite fit right, so I have to test and reprint and then redesign or makeshift. And that's a long story, but
it's very impressive that you do that.
Thanks.
It is. I admire you.
But I had major surgery recently, but I'm dying to get back onto my roller skates really, really badly, and I'm trying to get back into playing and bouting again. But gosh, resolution. Not going to say to drop weight because that's everyone's resolution.
Yeah.
But I think just keep doing what we're doing, and keep every day or cherish every day as we can, because you never know what will happen the next day, and just keep doing what we're doing. I did have to ask though on your band, because I saw your Instagram post with you singing that you were amazing. One, where can we find music? And two, do you play any other instruments?
You can find our music on Spotify. It's The Immortals with a Z. And we have a YouTube channel as well. Actually, on the YouTube, we have a lot of really good music videos out. And it's on Horror Web's YouTube. So go search for Horror Web in YouTube. And then on a playlist, there's The Immortals. And we have, I think, 4 or 5 music videos. So watch those.
When we're done in the chat, send us the on Instagram, send us the YouTube channel so we could
I will
subscribe, because you guys deserve it. You guys are if I ever got married, I'd be like, dude, I'm hiring you as the awesome band, and so you could be there at the wedding.
Oh man, I love the band. The band is one of my favorite projects. It works a different muscle for sure. As far as playing music instruments, I can fake my way around a guitar, a few chords. I don't play in the band because my nails are too long for it these days. But I write lyrics. I write a lot of the lyrics for the newer songs now.
Very cool. Very cool.
My New Year's resolution is to always reach for the stars, either for this podcast or dudes. And if if one person says no, I don't want to talk to you on your show, dudes or Ghost Head, there's always someone either in the Ghostbusters world, the nerd world, or the wrestling world that will be absolutely fucking wanting to talk to you, and you didn't even message them. You didn't send him a respond message, but they've been fiending at the mouth for 2 weeks to talk to you. And you clearly see their message there going, when can we set up a date? And you go to the next person above it, and then they're like, I don't want to talk to you. I can't do it. And you're like, this motherfucker's been here for 3 weeks, and I didn't say shit to them. So always keep your options open, and there's always people there that don't want to talk to you, and there's people in the community that want to talk shit. But you know better. Yeah. And you know that you're important to all communities, not just wrestling.
Yeah, you know your truth. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Right.
And Scarah, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. I know Rain is so over the moon about this episode because she was freaking happy as hell texting me. Oh my god, this is gonna be so
so
cool.
happy. Thank you, guys.
She's so dope.
Told her, we're like, she's so cool. Oh my god, we got the coolest girl in the world.
We have a lot of fun over here. I'll tell you that.
You gotta come to the East Coast, Scarah. We have to. I would love to meet you in New York City, like for like just to like see you at a Comic-Con or like.
Yeah, my bass player's from Connecticut, and we keep talking about going to the East Coast for a few shows at least. So
Please let me know.
I'll let you know if we do.
Oh, my sister loves going to concerts. If you ever go to like a small bar, like a cool bar, one of those cool bars.
Yeah, it would definitely be a smaller at this point. Who knows what happens later, but right now
we may end up at Bethel Woods, like this small band that my mom got me into. Overnight, I became a fan of a band called Ripe.
Ripe.
Yeah, they're from the East Coast. Yeah, they have a saxophone player, trumpet player. They have like a band. They have like plays instruments, and this lead singer that's like a chubby guy with a Hawaiian shirt on with an afro, and the voice of an angel. This guy can beatbox. He could like that. Like stuff. Oh my god, you have to look them up. They're on Instagram. Look up the music. The band is called Ripe.
Okay,
and they're awesome. Well, Scarah, I want to thank you for coming on the Ghost Head Nerd Talk podcast. This is awesome. I want to wish you all the best in 2024 and beyond. You're awesome. Fans, give her a follow and definitely check out her band. I'm Ghostbuster Joe.
I'm Rain.
And I'm Scarah, Damsel of the Doomed.
And we will catch you in the firehouse in the next one.
Next one.
Us Ghost Heads have a lot to